Welcome to Take It from the Ironwoman. My name is Susanne Müller, your host and the Ironwoman. This podcast is about empowering yourself and others to make real changes in the world. You will hear from everyday, smart, sophisticated, hip people like you and me. Not everybody has to be an Ironwoman to impress the world. Together, we will learn from the sports and business leaders how you can become a more successful person as an entrepreneur or a leader. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Take your steps now. Take your big steps now. Join me on this journey to success. This podcast is being sponsored by Get Loopy. On episode 41, you can hear the story of Isabel, the co-founder and CEO. Get Loopy, get a 20% discount off your first order. GetLoopy.com. Hello and welcome. Take it from the Ironwoman. Today we have again a very special guest here, Mina Fung from Canada. Hello, Mina. Please introduce yourself to the audience. Who is Mina, who's going to join us today on the episode?
Hi, Suzanne. Thank you for inviting me. Who am I? I'm many things, but my 3 or 4 main things now is that I have 3 business. One of them's attached to, or my podcast is attached to one of them. Mm-hmm. My bread and butter business is I do consultants for million plus companies, mainly focusing on the finance and scaling side. And I also have another business I call Pool Impact. I use that to help creatives and startups to do their category design and also think about marketing, stories, messages, alongside with financial modeling. So it's not one thing. Lots of time it's not one thing, it's a mix of things that make things work. And my third thing is something that I recently started with my business partner. We start this group called Wifa Global, and it's a platform and community for professional women and entrepreneurs to empower women for social mobilities upward. And so it's a movement, it's a passion, and it's a business for us.
Sounds interesting. Tell us a little more. I'm interested in that as well.
Yeah, Wifa Global, my business partner, Christy Kaisen, and I, we were once were in the same firm together. We're professionals. She has her own business, and now I have my own business. We don't live in the same city, so we haven't seen each other for a long time, but I knew about her stories, very inspiring. And somehow she listened to my podcast and she reached out and she said, I really like your podcast. I was like, how did you find it? She's not even my target group. And that's how we connected and we start to talk about things. We start to talk about our profession and how we want to see things change. Last year, when Melinda Gates started to talk about a campaign about equality can't wait, I sent that video to her, and starting from there, we said, well, we have to do something. Now we both have our own business, so we are successful and we want to help others. So why don't we start a group and to change something in our industry that we want to see more women to be in the leadership and also have better business, or more women to build their own business. And that's how we started. Now we haven't done a whole lot with it during after the initial stage because we're both running our own business. Now she's extremely busy. During the crisis, she's even more busy. So I'm also busy with my 2 other business. So now we will probably regroup and then see how we can
keep going. You seem to be a very busy person. Do you also have some fun with everything, it seems like?
Oh yeah, I have a lot of fun. In general, I think on my professional side, most people who know me know as very serious, as very rule-based, as very professional. But in my personal life, I'm actually I won't say complete opposite, but I'm all about having fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very creative person that mold into the professional side. And I like humor. I like stand-up. Like for all the things I watch on YouTube, is more about stand-up comedy. I love stand-up comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I myself organize some more about humor talks. And so many ideas about humor talks with startups. And so I can be goofy, I love fun, and I love joking around. And yes, fun is a big part of my life.
Sounds like a lot of fun, right? Having fun. And I know we met each other in the podcast fellowship. I remember at one point you spoke about hair. So what is it about hair? And I know your hair looks always fantastic with that bright red.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Most people, a few people sometimes when I travel especially, they're open and they tap me on my shoulder and just to tell me that they love my hair or they love my color. Yeah, I really enjoy that. What happened with my hair was I always want something bold. My background in corporate finance before, I had to tone it down. But now I'm an entrepreneur. I can just go as bright as I want or as crazy. Mm-hmm. But even during my professional life, I remember I have a few blondes here, there, start pushing the boundaries. Mm-hmm. The funny thing was my peer group actually saying something about, wow, why did you do your hair like that? Like they judge that based on how I look. And my boss, who know my work, actually like the hair. It's like, whoa, that looks really cool. So I thought a lot of time when we are in the society that I don't think it matters so much of how we look. It's still have to present a certain way, but we shouldn't afraid too much of what our peer group said. Mm-hmm. It's good to push the boundary a little bit or also have your own footing. Mm-hmm. To say, this is my work and this is who I am, and be able to show a little bit. I wish I show it a lot more then, but now it's not too late.
Oh, it's never too late. I remember when I grew up, I had blonde and somebody met my mom and she says, yeah, my daughter. And she says, I know your daughter. She has kind of like blonde hair. So I was the talk of the little town that I grew up. So isn't that funny? When you are standing out, people recognize you. I'm wondering in the field of finance, you said like you had to tone it down. It's maybe not as adequate or appropriate to use that. So you had to tone it down and now you have your own and you can be yourself. My podcast is about interviewing people from sports and leaders. So before we started our recording, you said you love running, but you're not a sports person. So how come you love running, but you don't consider yourself as a sports person? I think you are a sports person.
Well, actually, the funny thing is my mom and my dad, they're both very good in sports. My mom was in gymnastics when she was in school, and she's also the team captain for basketballs. So my brother's very athletic. He did very well in school as well as on the court in terms of basketball. My dad was a distant runner and also a distant swimmer.
Oh, wow.
But when I grew up, I got sick a lot, and I'm not sure what got me to not doing anything or afraid of sports. I didn't do anything. Like my sport when I was in teenagers was night shopping. I could shop from 11 to 11 p.m. Well, mind you, that's in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
That's my only sport. When I had to run around the school doing PE class, I cheat. And then I got punished because I was hiding behind the building and then waiting for people to come another one. So instead of running 10 times, I was like doing 1 for 1 times. Of course, I got caught. And then I had to run a lot.
But that's clever.
But then I hate running because I got punished.
Yeah.
And a few years ago, when my dad was in the hospital, I had to go back to Hong Kong and be close to him. And at the time, I had nothing else to do. So I thought about, it's driving me crazy because worrying about him and going to visit him at the hospital, and no one knows what's wrong with him. So to manage my own stress, I pick up running. I just pick up some running shoes and start running, and then push the boundary a little bit. First day, maybe 1K. By the end of a few months, I could run 10Ks once a week.
And are you keeping it up, or how is the...
No, I had, it's funny. I didn't know I have flat feet. So I used the wrong running shoes. And now I had Achilles injury. It couldn't get back to normal again. So I stopped running. The only thing I'm good at, actually, in terms of sport, is sailing. Was sailing. I stopped doing sailing now because I just pick up windsurfing. But sailing has a lot that I can apply to business as well as life. So not sure you're familiar with sailing.
I grew up on a lake, and I always said I would love to learn how to sail. And I had some friends who had a sailing boat. So that for me was always like, I don't know, the best part of the summer when I was invited to go on the sailboat. And I know sailing has a lot to do with like decision-making, fast decision-making, and maybe also push your boundaries.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I wanted to do 2 things, horseback riding and sailing. And I paid for everything myself and just want my dad to sign, and I could go to a summer camp for those 2 things. He said no. So years later, when after finishing school in Canada, I was thinking, I'll go back to horseback riding and sailing now that I can do it. I don't need my dad's approval. It turns out I love sailing and I was really good at it. But then I didn't like horseback riding. So with sailing, what I learned was you know your direction of where you want to go. So that also ties into a vision. You want to go to a point, but then, and also you have to leverage everything you have, including your body. I like the dinghy boat sailing. So you have to leverage your body, leverage the wind, leverage the boat, leverage if you have a crew, leverage everything to trim everything, to do micro adjustment, to zigzag your way to your destination. 2 things I learned is about how you read the wind, how you make decision. If you're not careful, you're ending up in the water. You capsize, ending up in the water all the time. And even when you get to your destination, you're like, now I have to turn around. I actually enjoy the zigzag going there, the journey, more than the destination. That's 2 things I learned from sailing.
Yeah. What are your tips? I mean, like, it seems like you're a very busy person. You like fun. You like sailing, and you also said windsurfing. Any tips for the audience, maybe to keep motivated, and how can you keep healthy and busy lifestyle?
Healthy is about food. I'm careful with my food choice. I love sugar, but now I try to reduce it as much as possible and eliminate sugar from my diet. And I also test out different theories about what's good for our body. And in terms of having a healthy lifestyle, I walk every morning. Now I cannot run, so I walk every morning. Also do exercise at home. During our quarantine life, I do different exercise. So it's about taking, even though I'm busy, that I can just go on for hours without stopping. But it is taking frequent breaks and rest that create more energy for me to do better and perform better.
Yeah, that's important. I hear a lot of people who they think like, they can go 10, 15 hours. They don't take a break even for eating, or sometimes not even going for the bathroom. but it is important to actually every, I think, 60 to 90 minutes to take a break and rejuvenate. Otherwise, you just burn out, and it actually takes longer to be productive when you think you go on and on and on. So I think these are very good tips. So healthy eating, healthy habits, and take some breaks.
Yes.
Very good. Yeah. Very good. So thank you so much, Mina. I learned a lot from you, and good luck for all your projects in the near future.
And also all the best for all your projects at the moment. And thank you for inviting me again.
How interesting to talk to Mina, busy lady from Vancouver with an inspirational story. What is your routine? How do you keep a healthy and happy lifestyle? And one thing, get your loopy, get 20% off of your first order. Take it from the Ironwoman. Every Monday, every Wednesday, we have episodes. Don't miss out on your favorite platforms.